What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Football Corner Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremiah Queen. Of course, before we get started with today's episode, recapping what happened in Week 10, I would like for all my viewers out there on YouTube to please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you're listening to me on a podcast app like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or even Spotify, please subscribe to the podcast. Now, and for always, let's cue it up. I'm ready to get started with all the Week 10 things that happened. And without further ado, let's go to Sunday recap. The Green Bay Packers and the Cowboys had an eventful game on Sunday. And this game was so eventful that it went to overtime. The Packers have been winning 31-28. But what really stood out to me was the chemistry between Aaron Rodgers and their rookie receiver, Christian Watson. Now, Christian Watson, so far this season, has been a no-show. He has had a lot of big drops. He's a really fast guy, but what's good with all that speed if when you're wide open, you can't make the catch? And I thought Christian Watson had some drops early on in this game. And I thought it was going to be the same old story. Aaron Rodgers doesn't trust his receiver. He wants to go to people he's familiar with. But that didn't happen. With the help of their running game, Aaron Jones rushing for over 100 yards and having 20-plus touches on the ground, it helped Aaron Rodgers be the Aaron Rodgers he can be, at least for this offense. Aaron Rodgers right now doesn't have a supporting cast for him to be able to win a shootout. But if you could get the running game involved, set up the play action, now you can start taking the deep shots down the field. And if you have your rookie receivers start catching balls, in which he did, Christian Watson had 4 catches for over 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. So those 3 touchdowns were crucial because they were a momentum changer. They were a momentum swinger, right, so to speak. And I like that Aaron Rodgers and this offense finally looks like, at least for 1 week, they got it together. Now, on the Cowboys side of things, I think the Cowboys lost because of penalties and coaching. Now, there's a few things I saw in that game that just you can't do. And in my opinion, it really started when they got the ball first in overtime. So if you get the ball first in overtime, you want to at least go down and score a field goal or a touchdown, right? You want to get points. A touchdown wins the game. A field goal prolongs the game. And with the defense they have, who's been getting stops all season, you will want that defense to be able to get a stop. They on multiple times the Cowboys got first downs and they were unable to capitalize because of a holding penalty. And they even had a penalty where one of the receivers were offsides. Their rookie receiver, Jalen Tolbert, I believe he got drafted in the 2nd or 3rd round this past draft. He was offsides. I've never seen that to where a offensive player is offsides. That doesn't happen. All you have to do is look at the ball. So I've watched this guy. This guy's not even looking at the ball at all. What's he's looking at? He's looking at the other receiver. I mean, he's looking at the bench. And because he was looking at the bench, he didn't see that he was offsides. It's ridiculous. Matt McCarthy was very pissed because then you get a holding penalty that negates a first down they got on a play. So I think the biggest reason why the Cowboys lost was their defense didn't show up like I thought they would, and also the coaching and penalties really killed them. If the Cowboys plan on being a successful in the NFC contenders, you cannot be a penalty-driven team. Mike McCarthy came back to Green Bay for the first time since being fired, and you could really tell that he was emotional, but he really wanted to get this victory. It's one of those things to where, this organization fired me. I want to show them that they made the wrong move. And unfortunately, Green Bay and the Packers, the Green Bay Packers were on the winning side of things. The second team, or third team, so to speak, I want to talk about is the Dolphins, man. The Dolphins are so good this season, and I feel like every podcast I'm talking about Tua Tagovailoa. He had another prolific passing day with 285 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, another 100-plus passer rating day, a 93.7 QBR. Tua Tagovailoa cannot be stopped, and this offense is too powerful. They put up 39 points to get the Cleveland Browns, the same Browns team that shut down the Cincinnati Bengals. So this team and the Dolphins are contenders and are currently in the first place in their division, with the Bills dropping a game against the Vikings, and I will discuss that later. The Dolphins are in the driver's seat, and the Dolphins don't look like they'd be stopped. When Tua is healthy, they are undefeated. Okay, when he is healthy, I repeat that. When Tua is healthy, they are 7-0. The 3 losses came for 2. He wasn't unavailable due to injury reasons, and the reason one game they lost against the Bengals on Thursday Night Football, he got injured before halftime. So the Dolphins are contenders. You got to put Tua in the MVP conversation. Tyreek Hill got to be in the Offensive Player of the Year conversation. This offense is electric. It's powerful. Mike McDaniels also should be looking for a reward and getting Coach of the Year because the way he has turned Tua's career around. And who knows what happens down the stretch. But as of now, Tua is the best quarterback in the AFC East. Let's get talking about the best and worst performances of Week 10. The best performance will go to Justin Jefferson. Now, Justin Jefferson, I usually don't pick receivers for the best performance. Because usually it's the quarterback that takes the award. But I could not live with myself if I did not give Justin Jefferson this nomination. Now, Justin Jefferson had 11 catches, a $190, a receiving touchdown, and he made every big play that the Vikings needed against their victory over the Buffalo Bills. Now, this game ended up going to overtime 33-30, and this was the wildest game of the year by 4. You're talking about a game that in 4 different instances that you thought was won by either the Vikings or the Bills, and the strangest thing happened. And Justin Jefferson made the biggest catches and some of the most impressive catches I've ever seen since I started watching football. Justin Jefferson is that guy. He is, if he's not a number 1 receiver, he's number 1 receiver B. Now, I know a lot of people will put Tyreek Hill in that category as number 1 receiver, but Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill are 1A, 1B. Justin Jefferson can make catches that I don't think Tyreek Hill can. Okay, Tyreek Hill has a unique skill set that allows him to be open and be dynamic as a receiver. But Justin Jefferson is just a receiver, just dominant, not the fastest guy, not the tallest guy, but he makes great catches. And when Kirk Cousins needed a big play on 4th down, 3rd down, game on the line, he looked to number 18 and threw the ball his direction. Justin Jefferson made Kirk Cousins look like an MVP against the Buffalo Bills. And he single-handedly is the reason why the Vikings won that game. You could always give it to Patrick Peterson, who had the game-sealing interception. But Justin Jefferson is the reason why that the Vikings won that game. In overtime, he made big catch after big catch. Justin Jefferson definitely had the best performance. Now, the worst performance will have to go to Andy Dalton, the QB for the Saints. The Saints just tear it up. It's done. I understand your division sucks and you still have a chance mathematically, but it is done. Give up on the season. You don't have a quarterback, and you're losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm sorry. Tom Brady lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it looks like they have found their rhythm. They're back at 500. The Saints cannot catch a break to save their life, and it's mainly because of the quarterback play. They suck with Andy Dalton because they thought Andy Dalton could get the job done, but unfortunately, Andy Dalton cannot. He's turnover machine, doesn't see the field correctly, looks washed. He's no longer a Pro Bowl quarterback. If I was the Saints, I would still try to win games, but unfortunately, I'll be looking towards getting a QB in the draft. The upset of the day will have to go to the Indianapolis Colts with their victory over the Raiders. The Raiders are trash. They're horrible. They're garbage. You lost to an interim head coach in Jeff Saturday, which, in another conversation, I don't even know if he should be a head coach or if he's even qualified. But all I know is Jeff Saturday is 1-0 as a head coach. Doesn't matter how you got there. Did you get the job done when you got there? Matt Ryan's back in the starting lineup. The Raiders, they just tear it up. I don't think Derek Carr should be there next year. Not because he sucks, but I think you just need a new QB. Even maybe the head coach shouldn't be there next year because he received a playoff team, and now they're no longer a playoff team. So you could call it coaching, you could call it quarterback play, you could call it stars not showing up when the moment matters the most. But the Colts have the biggest upset over the weekend. A few other teams were in consideration for upset, like the Vikings or even the Packers. But the Colts, despite with everything that was going on leading up to this game, with all the coach nonsense, I think they rallied together, got the job done, And for now, Jeff Saturday looks like a competent head coach. So before we stop and end this podcast episode, there's a few things that so far in this NFL season I want to get off my chest. Number one, Josh Allen no longer is in the MVP conference, in the front runner in the MVP race. Josh Allen constantly has had turnover plays, and by the way, he leads the league in interceptions with 10. But Josh Allen has had so many bad plays over the past 4 games, and no one's talking about it, okay? He had 2 interceptions against the Green Bay Packers, but they won, and everybody was like, well, he was just being reckless, and it didn't matter. But it's showing itself now. He had 2 costly turnovers in the Jets game, and these are red zone turnovers, okay? Now, I'm just saying, if there was another QB like a Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson or even a Pat Mahomes making these type of throws, people will be killing them. And I don't think Josh Allen gets the same type of treatment, okay? This is what I want to get off my chest. Second thing is, the Vikings are for real, guys, okay? I understand y'all didn't like the Vikings. Y'all didn't think the Vikings were a good team, but they are a good team, okay? Vikings, you said, well, you always want to close ball games. And I keep telling you, that's the recipe of winning, okay? They like it when the game's on the line, when it's a one-score game, because they're going to get the job done, okay? They only have 1 loss this season. That gets the Eagles, and the Eagles are undefeated as of now. And the Vikings are showing what they can be. And I think Kevin O'Connell, being an offensive coach that he is, offensive mind that he is, I think that he has got the full potential out of this Vikings offense that Mike Zimmer can never do when he was the coach last year, because he was a defensive guy. And their offense always looked kind of stale, even though they had the weapons in order to be successful. I think this team will go far, and they're just waiting right now for the Philadelphia Eagles to get some losses in order to get that number 1 seed. Because the Vikings have the potential of being a Super Bowl contender. I understand people don't like Kirk Cousins, but guess what? Kirk Cousins can't get the job done when it matters the most. But of course, we'll have to see in the playoffs. But as of now, Kirk Cousins is that guy. There's something else I want to talk about that's happened this season is Lions, Giants. You know, there's a lot of teams that I don't know if they're really good, but the Giants have a 7-2 record. And the Lions are winning more games, and they have a high-power offense. And Justin Fields is looking like a franchise quarterback. Okay, can we go ahead and say these things? Justin Fields is really good. Okay, Dan Campbell coaches his butt off for that Lions team, and Brian Daboll has gotten the best out of Daniel Jones. Those are 3 things so far this season I could take away and be like, you know what, these guys. And these players and these coaches and these teams are actually what you see. Now, can Daniel Jones win the playoffs? That'll be yet to be determined. Will Dan Campbell actually keep his job after this season? We don't know. Will Justin Fields continue this successful quarterback play? Who knows? But as of now, those are the 3 things so far this season that are true, and stop all these people who are trying to deny the Giants of being a good team, Dan Campbell of being a competent coach and doesn't actually want this team to win as much as the fan base does, or Justin Fields can't be a quarterback in this league. Shut up, okay? Shut it, because those 3 things are true. And I will see you next week for our next episode. We out. Thanks for watching and listening to the Football Corner Podcast. Podcast episodes will be dropped on Mondays and Fridays, as well as YouTube videos on Mondays and Fridays. You could click the link in my description in order to follow the social media links to my podcast social media pages. And also, you will be able to stay up to date on new drops, new takes, and all that good stuff. Thanks for watching. See you next time.